we should be live for Talking with Francesco in 2024. This is our first episode, as I said, in 2024, and I really needed a special guest. So I've been struggling at the end of December, like, who can I invite? Who can I invite? So at the end, I decided to invite a person I met some months ago, Khushboo. We met in Goa at the Web3 conference, but we have been connected way before meeting in person. And probably most of you already know her, but I really wanted her to be here so we can kickstart this 2024. Feel free to say hi in the chat, see some people here. And so, Khushboo, how are you? And welcome, and let's have a great 2024.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. And I hope you all have a very amazing 2024. A very happy new year to all of you. And we are starting it off talking about something that might help you a lot in your, personal life, personal branding, and even in your career. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, and usually when I invite a guest, we also need a topic. And in this case, it was easy because I attended a hair talk in person in Goa. So I say, okay, so let's try to have a more a conversation because I wanted to ask maybe something else. And I think that you are great at personal branding. So I'm also curious about some topics. So, but you know what? I invite people here also because sometimes we are so busy on social media doing our own stuff, content creation, jobs, full-time jobs. Now we have like 20 minutes just to relax because I want to know more about you. So please first introduce yourself and then I want to get even a bit into your story. How did you get into tech? So let's start with the proper introduction, Khushbu.
Yeah, of course. So I am a software engineer. I'm currently working at AppRight, which is a backend as a service startup. And before that, I was working with Microsoft in their Azure storage team. And I have been someone who loves problem solving, who loves challenging problems, and who loves to write a lot of code. But that is not my entire personality. At the side, I also enjoy doing content creation. So you might find me posting things on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I also love attending conferences, meeting new people, and that helps me grow my community, grow my network. So I also involve myself in a lot of public speaking endeavors, talking at hackathons, conferences, mentoring people. So that is something that I love a lot. So it's like I do multiple things.
Amazing, nice. And I can say that this is for sure because we met, so we have been in a conference, so it's also for real, not just in theory, I would say. Nice. So, Kushbu, I would like to know. This is the question that basically I ask everyone who are on this channel because I want to know how did you step into tech? Like, what has been like some more background? Like, I don't know, before the first role, what you were doing, like in the past. So I'm curious because I want to know more maybe about the story. Sometimes I find something in common with some people just because we never talked like this before. So yes, please. How did you get into tech? How did you step into tech?
So it's actually kind of funny that I never wanted to be in tech and I hated software engineering and computer science because uh, so when I was in school, so we had an option to either pick biology or mathematics. So you either become a doctor or you become an engineer. And I was not able to decide because I was too young. I did not have enough examples of both type of people in my life. So my family had been from different backgrounds. So I was confused, so I took both of them. And eventually, it happened that I was not able to appear for the medical exams in India because I fell sick. And I ended up getting admission in an engineering college. And my father was like, you know what, you should do a computer science job because he wanted me to be able to work from anywhere in the world with just a laptop and internet access. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. And that is how I just entered my university with a computer science degree. But things changed there. So I was at an all women university in India, which is, first of all, not many of them are there. And when I entered, there was such a amazing community culture. I got introduced to computer science concepts. We used to have on campus communities, small groups of peers who wanted to learn, who wanted to teach. And we used to have coding competitions and small hackathons. And that entire process made me fall in love with tech. So I would give a lot of credit to communities. during university as well, I was a part of multiple communities like Microsoft Learn Ambassadors and uh, GitHub Campus Experts, and that actually made me, be more excited about what I was learning.
Wow. So just to give an idea, because this happened even in this episode, but the way this is not scripted. So I want to be a biologist too when I was very young, and then I was that close to do math instead of computer science because my mom is a math teacher. I always loved math. I'm a bit unpopular on this part, but and also we can say that programming was not like a love at first sight in both our cases. I also hated the programming also because I come from sports, so like sitting on a chair for many hours, it was not something that I wanted to do in my life. Now I kind of found a compromise, but yes, so yes, again, this is like shows like how I can find many points in common. I can say that your father has had, I think, a good idea. So letting you give the freedom to work from wherever you are is something that not everyone has this, let's say, privilege. But in tech, at least, there are some good things, some bad things, but this is one of the good parts that we can work from wherever we want, even from a beach if we want, if we can manage to work from a beach, of course.
And it's so surprising that remote work became such a norm these days, especially after COVID. So I think we are lucky.
Yes, yes, we are, and we're gonna taking advantage of this 100% as much as we can. Nice, nice, nice. So if you want, you can drop any question. We already have a couple, but I want to go more into the process, understanding a bit more about your background, your roles. So we work in Microsoft now upright, and then we step into the central part of this of the interview of the podcast, which is about personal branding. I think developers are not that good, but we will get to the we'll get to this later. So I would like to know so about your job in Microsoft and now in Upright, like about your process and how maybe personal branding helped you personally before starting to give some tips. We have many questions, but what about your process, your own experience?
So when I was in university, we knew from day one that there would be MNCs coming to our campus to recruit interns and full-time hires, and they asked data structures and algorithms and on the computer science core concepts. So we used to prepare for that since day one. And when I was in my second year of university, I got an offer from Microsoft for a software engineering intern role. So I did an internship there. After that, I also joined Adobe as a product intern. And eventually, I figured out that Microsoft was a place which had an amazing work culture and amazing work. And I enjoyed my internship a lot. So I decided to join the company full time. There, I got to work on Azure storage, which is like a very huge vertical. And it was like some team in India, some team in the United States, and we used to work at very huge scale in distributed computing and understand how to decrease latency for such a high scale system. So that was interesting, and the culture at Microsoft was very amazing. I also got to experience my first in office experience when offices reopened after COVID got over. So that was a great experience for me. But at the same time, when I was in university, I was very active in communities, and that actually taught me that so these communities, they were not restricted to any geographical location. They were spread all over the world, and the mentors of these communities encouraged us to be active on social media and post about what we were doing. So it did not start as an active thought, like when I started posting, but I realized that I am not restricted to my geographical location, and I can share my work with people, I can interact with people, etc. So I started doing that. So at the time I was at Microsoft, I already had a good community. I used to do Twitter spaces during COVID, interacting with people from all over the world, different domains, not just tech, product, etc. And that is how I also got to know about smaller startups and open source, and all of this happened. So I got to know about AppWrite, and I thought that, yeah, I always thought that I would join an MNC after college, which I did, and I have an experience, but I never explored the other side of the thing and other side of the table. And I just realized that when you are early in your career, I think it's the best time to take on decisions that are a bit more riskier, and you do not have to worry too much about how it's going to turn out. So I decided to take the plunge and joined a very small startup coming from a huge MNC like Microsoft, and it has been more than 1 year, and it has been a wonderful decision.
Yes, yes, and I'm happy because I witnessed a part, I would say, not all your journey, but the last years, and you have been really like doing amazing things everywhere on many different companies, big companies. So it has been a really great journey, I would say. Also, some parts now I remember that you mentioned, like also in Goa. So I'm getting the whole. Big picture, I would say, and it has been really great. Nice. Thank you so much, Khushboo. So nice. I think that we are ready to start talking about the main topic, and I think that you are really strong in this. So if you have any question about personal branding, drop them below. So at the end, probably we'll take some of them, but I would like to start with usually with the why. So why do you think that for developers can be effective to improve your personal branding? Because let me play the devil's advocate role. Can't I just code and just find a role just by coding? That's it. Do I need personal branding, and which why? So I want you to try to convince me, or at least the old Francesco, the 2018 Francesco, like why this?
Yeah, so I think first of all, I would like to say it is not mandatory. If someone does not feel like doing it, if it comes hard to them, you do not have to feel compelled to like do it. But I feel that a personal brand is very important. I'll give you one simple example. We use a lot of products in our day-to-day life, and if I say names like Gucci, BMW, Mercedes, a sense of a brand appears in your mind. You have certain emotions associated with that brand. Either you have a good experience or a bad experience. Some brands have a luxurious factor associated with them, some have a great history, and it is just a factor of familiarity. So it is the very same for even personal branding. I think people should see themselves as a brand as well, and if you have the ability to tell a story, and craft a story for yourself, that when people hear your name, they have the thoughts that you wanted them to have about you. I think that's a very powerful ability, and which is why I think not just for developers but for everyone, it is very important to establish that personal brand, especially in this time when we are not restricted to any geographical location to get any opportunity. And also, right now the times are tough, the competition is ever increasing. There is a rush to stand out from the crowd, and there is like a global recession going on, where you want to be able to be accessible to companies as well. So even when I talk about job seeking, there are two ways to go about it, right? First is the conventional way, where you draft a resume, you create your projects, and then you reach out to companies. You apply to 100 jobs a day, and then companies may or may not reach out to you. But I think personal branding allows you to also go an extra mile, in the sense that you can also create a way for companies to find you, because good companies are always looking for great talent. And if you put your work out there, and if people know that you are good in certain things, it is an opportunity for them to find and reach out to you. And you might not even have heard of them, but it might be a great fit. So it's a win win.
Yes, I like to think about this like basically if you work on your personal brand, it's like you roll more dice, so you have more chances. So you can still be successful even with just a couple of chances in your life, but then I don't know. I don't trust in luck too much. I prefer to work a bit more and trust less on luck. And I really like the idea of like working remotely and finding like jobs like in different places. I work remotely too, and I say that it can be a game-changing thing. It's not a must, but it can be a game-changing thing at some point. You are getting this tip from someone who has been like for 3 years doing a commute of 100 kilometers per day. So basically, going to work, it was
Oh.
my a part-time job. So I know what I'm talking about. I can say the I can feel the difference, I would say. Nice, nice. I'm really enjoying this conversation, Khushbu. Let's go with the next one. So I usually on social media we like to showcase like our successes, achievements, and so on. But I would like even to start by the mistakes, so the debugging, the errors, I would say. So, what do you think are the most common mistakes when you are branding yourself online? Which I think it's not that easy, like understanding and like if we I would like to start from the mistakes first and then we say about the good things. So what you should not do when you're creating a personal brand as a developer
I'm
in general.
very glad that you asked that, Francesco, because you and I both have this digital footprint now, and we understand the implications of a negative personal brand that people might end up building. And to be honest, when I started posting content on social media, I did not had any intention of becoming famous, or I did not want to be, an content creator or something like that. And I think everyone on the internet starts with on social media with that intention, or with the intention to just network and get a job, and they might find themselves posting things that they might not want to post if they are very famous and they know that their post is reaching millions of people. But what they forget in the process is that we are living in a digital world where everything that you do stays on the internet forever. And we have seen examples of this happen in the past, where once a person becomes successful and immediately a lot of tractions comes to their account, people start digging up their old content and start making memes on that. And just imagine that you are now the CEO of a very successful company, and people are digging out tweets from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and you are like, oh shit, why did I post that? So this is one mistake that I think people should not make. If they feel that it is something that they might not want to be associated with once they become famous, or once they have a lot of eyes on them, they should not do the same things even when they are not having a lot of traction. Second thing that I feel is that it is our individual responsibility as a community to make sure that we make a safe and welcoming space for everyone. So when you go online, I know it's very easy to sit behind a keyboard and say anything that you might not say when a face value is associated with you. Please be mindful that you do not say those things anonymously or behind a keyboard. Be inclusive, be empathetic, be kind, even when you might not be visible or directly interacting with someone in a face-to-face interaction. And I think these are the some basic things to keep in mind. Another thing I would like to mention is that obviously once someone starts becoming famous, a lot of brands start reaching out to creators and they offer some money and they ask you to post things. And it does seem lucrative in the start, because you see it as a new stream of income suddenly appeared and you find it very lucrative. But again, be very cautious. Do not promote things that you do not completely believe in. And be very mindful. Learn to say no, and rest of the things you will learn along the way.
Yes, absolutely. Usually I summarize these are like don't destroy something that you have been working for thousands of hours for 50 euros. I know that it can be tempting, but it's you should understand like that we are like working on we have been working on this. It's basically a job, like staying on social media in a proper way. It's basically a full-time job. And so yes, really agree this, and I think that this is a tip to when you're really at the beginning that I really feel to agree 100%. We have many questions, but so keep sharing them. I'm seeing them by the way. But before doing that, I would like to go to keep with the flow and now share maybe something that you think that it's available. So like, what do you think that we should do when we are building this personal branding as developers, or let's say as people? We are people, but let's say just one more, let's say, blink about developers.
Okay, that is a great question. And after the answer, I would also like you to share your insights, because I think you and I have been doing the same thing and we all have our own takeaways from our journeys. So, one thing that I've seen people struggle with the most, especially when they're starting, they feel that what is it that I know which other people don't know, and what can I start posting? Like, whatever I know, people already know. Why should I post about it and all of that? So, I think the first thing to get started is that do not care about whether the content is out there or not, because the same content can be taught in multiple different ways. So for example, if you are just starting to work with, let's say, Go, or you're learning Rust, you can just share your journey. A lot of people also start with 100 days of code, where it's like social accountability, and it's also like a consistency where you are just posting something every day. People are seeing you learn something new, they are seeing you being consistent at it, they also feel excited and they might join you. So you might have more people joining your journey and people observing your journey. It might attract opportunities. So that is one thing, that do not worry too much about what you should start posting. I would say just start posting and you will refine your content over time. If possible, have a niche, because eventually you would find that you are an expert at one thing, and the better you are at something, it is a higher probability that you might find better opportunities in that particular area. So if you are a developer and if your end goal from that branding is to get amazing job opportunities, then make sure you're posting about that. You can build some side projects, you can post about them. And another thing that is very important, it's not just about posting and building a brand, it's also about building connections. So, networking is a very important aspect. So, once you have a decent profile, you can also reach out to people for opportunities, which we call cold outreach. And one mistake I've seen a lot of people make is they just send, "Hi, hello, how are you?" All of that is okay, but if someone is busy, they might not be able to reply to you. So, if you have to, let's say, ask for a referral for a job, what I would do is that, "Hi, I saw your profile from this and I'm looking for a job. Here are my qualifications, here is the link of my resume, and this is why I find your company interesting. Would you be up for a 15-minute chat?" All of this in just a very concise and crisp to the point message, and that might increase your odds of hearing back from people. So networking, building a brand, and interacting with the community, so that you build a community for yourself, a small group of people who are interested in the same things. So all of that is like, I think you can do on social media. What do you think? Like, you have also been in the same boat.
Yeah, basically this is the exact like 30 seconds, it's like 2 minutes that I needed like in 2019. So I'm listening to this and I can just nod because I tried this on my own skin, I would say. I agree, of course, on everything, especially on the part that just posting and then understand. Like, this series started almost by mistake. I posted a coffee chat with one of my friends. So we never, and I already had like 25K on Twitter, so I was not even getting started at the very beginning. But we really understand what we can do. It's usually, for me, content and social media is always like a compromise between what we will want to do, what the audience want to see, what we want to improve. Shameless plug, I have a last live this Saturday. This was not scripted, but this is because I want to learn this, that my audience wants this, and I find a compromise to create some content. It's always a compromise between me and the audience. I want to add only one thing, which is focus. So for me, the social media started to make sense after I started to focus, for example, only on developers. Now I know that I joined Tech Twitter, Tech X, but it was my decision to say, okay, let's just to follow, or let's try to focus only on developers. So I know that when I go on Twitter, I'll just talk about development. It can be jokes, it can be JavaScript, it can be PHP, but I want to focus on development and not just having football, movies, and other stuff. Does it mean that I don't watch movies? No, I watched the one yesterday. But when I stay on social media, I want to be connected with people that also share something about tech. And this was the first step in the right direction, because I was also working as a full stack developer. So I say, okay, so if this is my job, by focusing, I can remove all the noise that usually Twitter is a mess. So, it can be very messy. I mean, it's still messy even just doing this. So just this can really help. So that's the only thing that I want to add. But it was a amazing answer. Nice. Khushboo, one more question, and then I think I will start. We have like many questions, so hold on in the comments. We'll try to answer some of them. But I would like to know from you, which has been like the benefits, like real practical benefits for you, and how these how making so much effort in building this personal branding, because it takes energy, time, money. Like if we outreach people, to edit our videos, to help us posting, even like some collaborations, which are the benefits. So from your personal experience, but also maybe from experience that you had, let's say, in your career, in your journey.
So I kind of see it as a domino effect. When you are starting out, you do not really have an end goal in mind. As you also mentioned that this podcast also came out as like an experiment, and you did not really know how it might end up turning out. So even when I started, I just started for better opportunities, just to know what people are doing in the community, what are the trending technologies, what are the projects that people are building. So that is how I started. But eventually, I realized it has multiple benefits. First of all, it helps you improve your communication skills because you are communicating to a larger audience, you are reading content, you are observing what other people are talking about, and all of that is increasing your communication skills, your understanding of things, more awareness, and you become more equipped in general to be more aware of what is happening, what are the recent trends in the industry. So that is the first benefit, that even if you are just observing what other people are posting, you are learning so much. So learning is the first thing. Second thing that really came as a huge benefit is the community I started building. So over time, especially on your social media feeds, you kind of start seeing similar people again and again, and over time they become your friends. So you start knowing so much about each other. Whenever I have any small wins, whenever they have any wins, we celebrate it together, and that gives a sense of belongingness, a sense of togetherness. And the fun thing is that these people are not even you might not even have met them in person ever, but they are the ones who are rooting so much for you. So that is a huge benefit. The third thing, as I mentioned, is that once you start putting yourself out there, you are allowing other people to explore and see what do you work on, what are you good at, and reach out to you with opportunities. So many opportunities came my way which I did not even know about, and they just fell into my lap, and I just saw that okay, this is why, because people know what I'm doing, what I'm good at. And you wouldn't believe, but there have been instances where the other people have rooted for me in a room full of opportunities even when I was not there, because they knew I was good at something. So I think it's just an opportunity for people to know that okay, I am good at this. If you have an opportunity, this is how I am approachable. So I think it opens a lot of doors for you. It can be in terms of collaborations, it can be in terms of discovering new things, it can be in terms of learning, or in terms of building connections. I do not see any major downsides to it. I only see benefits.
Yes, absolutely. I think the only downside is that you actually have to work on it. So it's like extra work. So that's the only, let's say, cons, I would say. So it doesn't come out of the blue. You actually have to work. It's like having, I don't know, another job other than your jobs. That also, I want to say this, that maybe at the beginning, you can't sometimes you can't really see the value at the beginning because you are really getting started. So why am I tweeting this once a day? I get one like, we have been everyone has been there. Nobody started with 10K. So it's that's so probably something that it's hard, I would say, a bit stressful at the beginning. But I always advocate for doing something which is always sustainable. So keep doing your own stuff. Don't like stop learning or like quit your job to just stay on Twitter at the beginning. Just focus on this like on a side thing that you can do like in the past. And I loved the fact that you actually can share your achievements. I think is one of my favorite things because I remember that when in 2017 I got my first job, it was for a full stack developer for the European Space Agency, amazing, but I didn't have like social media presence to say I'm so happy. Like, okay, I said this to my parents, 10 friends, and that's it. Instead, like now, I always like and engage when I see someone like getting a job, switching career, deciding to change something. It's great. It's like we can root for each other. It's probably one of my favorite things that happens on social media. Really love that. Nice. So I think we are crossed to 30 minutes. So I would like to start to get some questions if that's okay for you, and then we get to a final message. I'm really enjoying this. I knew that this was a great way to start 2024. You know that on the 1st of January, some people they sign up for the gym. Some people decided to create. I saw many people creating a YouTube channel or I don't know, starting a new account. I don't know because maybe maybe it's because it's January, so people they really want to work more on their personal brand,
Yes.
and so yeah, nice.
Yeah, we can
So
definitely take
yeah,
questions. In the meantime, I would just like to say that I have also seen your journey, like the way you have grown on Twitter/X and now on YouTube. Like I saw that today you crossed 24,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a huge milestone. So I feel like I'm a part of your journey as well, and that is the feeling that people get when they are, supporting each other online.
yeah, thank you so much, Khushboo. To be honest, I don't know what's going on with my channel. I'm just gonna do everything that I'm doing in the last month, and then we'll see. But I'm very happy. So because I thought that like traveling would have been like kept me away from YouTube, and this is what happened. If it's since August to October, when I came back, I worked a lot, and now I'm happy. So, but I feel that it was worth even coming to India more than 20, 30 hours of flight, but it was worth because once you meet someone in person, it's different. Nice. Let's go. I hope you're ready because we have some of them, at least 10. Let's
Let's
try
go.
to go fast. Nice. And don't stop posting questions. So we have this one about public speaking. So you are a public speaker. So is public speaking related to personal branding, and how can we improve in public speaking? I know you can speak for 3 hours just about this, but go.
Yeah, I think it is a very it is a part of public like personal branding. You can either speak at conferences or you can post content. It's just the one of the ways of building a brand for yourself. What I used to do, I used to go and practice in front of a mirror to see my body language, how I'm looking like it. I used to read a lot of newspapers and books to increase my speaking, like my vocabulary and my comprehension of things. So it's always about practice. If you're not comfortable speaking in front of a huge group, just try speaking in front of a peer group of 5 to 10 people and just record it, listen to it from a third person perspective. I'm sure it would help.
Love it, love it. Thank you so much. Of course, this could be just a single episode of this on this channel, but thank you so much for giving like a short answer. It was great. Question for Francesco, but also for you. Tips for balancing writing content that pleases your audience and yourself as a creator. I would like to put this question to you first, and then I don't know if I can add something.
I think it is a balance of both, because if you just keep posting what the audience wants, it would feel like a lot of work and you might have to push yourself even harder to be consistent. But at the same time, you have to carve a niche for yourself, and people will, if they like the content, they would eventually support you even more. So it's a balance. But what do you think?
I think that I come first than my audience. Sorry for being selfish, but if I can't do something, if I don't like to do something, I just don't do it. Even if the entire world is gonna tell me this, because I don't feel that I will not be me. So I come first. Sorry, and then I try to understand from my audience what they like more, what they like less. The audience always comes second for me. Does it mean that I don't value the audience? No. Is that for me being selfish in this way and doing something sustainable, it means that you will have more content from me. I remember, for example, when I did the first 100 episodes of this series, I did 100 episodes in 100 days. Then I took 2 weeks off, and some people say like, "Ah, Francesco, why did you stop? Why we're not doing this on a daily basis?" I said because now I want to have a break after doing this for more than 3 months, and then I'll be back. No worries. And now people understood this, but this is very important because I my I saw some of my friends that basically burned out or they stopped using a social media because it was too stressed. I don't want to stress. I want to enjoy doing social media. I want, especially if I create content for free, and this comes first before money, before everything else. So that's it. This is my approach
Big
for
plus
now,
one.
and for now this is working so very well. It has been 4 years now, and it works very well. Nice. Thanks for hosting this YouTube live session. You are welcome. I have a question. How can tech creators effectively balance and integrate? No, it's the same. No, it's similar. Integrate their personal brand with the branding of their product or services. No, it's a bit different. So, balancing between your personal brand and branding the services. Are they two different things? What do you think?
I think yes. If I have to give an example, I would say Elon Musk and Tesla, or Bill Gates and Microsoft, Satya Nadella and Microsoft. So these people definitely have a strong personal brand as well. Because when I say Elon Musk, you have his traits and everything. So I think even if you have like a successful brand, it's very important to have a personal brand as well. Because if tomorrow you start a new venture, people would know you as well, and they would not just judge you on that previous product that you had. Obviously, having a personal brand helps promote your product much better. So I'll give one example. If when I started my YouTube channel, although I'm not active on it, I just posted about it and I had like 1,000 subscribers already, which means that if you have a personal brand, anything that you build will have much more initial audience at least. And then obviously the product has to be strong to retain it, but it does help.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar for me. When I started YouTube channel, I had like 30,000 followers on Twitter. So some people were more curious because they already knew me, and I think that's the, I don't know, a good benefit for like working so hard on a platform and say, hey, now I'm also here, and you can follow along if you want, of course. Otherwise, we can also just be friends on Twitter. I will not get upset. But yeah, thank you. And this was a really important one. We have many questions from Toby, but let's try to get at least one or two. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think content creation should be to a developer?
Mm, 3. Obviously, it's not the most important thing. It's just an icing on the cake.
Nice. Okay. I disagree a bit with Khushboo, but I think we can still be friends. But I think this is because of my personal experience. And I think this also depends on how we define content creation. So I don't know if sharing for me, everything can be considered content creation. But this shows us how you can actually be successful in many different ways. I have had here big YouTubers, they almost never wrote an article. So just it's just a different way to sell yourself and find what is really the best for you. I think we can talk for hours here about how what is content creation and what is not. I don't know. Is a Twitter space content creation for you or not? For example,
Yeah, it is.
it is.
I
What
think
is your
it's just like putting yourself out there. And in fact, I would call like maybe writing blogs or writing documentation as well a part of content creation. So totally depends on the definition. But I would like to highlight a very important point. What a lot of people do is that once they start seeing success from content creation, they put all of their energy there and do not focus a lot on improving the technical skill set. I think it's just like if a product is marketed too well, but eventually the product is not good at the core, it might not sell after a point. So I think if you're a software engineer who is trying to also build a personal brand, always focus on software engineering skill set and keep that a priority. Because even if you're famous but you do not really know the underlying skill set, that can be a problem. So that is like a must have, and this is like a really good to have.
Nice. Thank you so much. In the meanwhile, I was trying to get your Instagram account. Yes. So we thank you, of course. I'll try to go with this because it is really got my attention. How to maintain the consistency of engaging with the audiences. So how can we do this?
So I think audience is one of the most important things that a creator should care about, because they are literally rooting for you every single second, even behind when you are not actively posting content. So understanding your audience, their interest, and engaging with them, making them feel like human beings and not just another subscriber or follower is very important. Because once you build that connection, you might discover that even though you might not have interacted with them before or not have consumed their content, they might know something that you do not know. So when you start engaging with them, they feel involved, they feel like they are a part of your success story, and they will go the extra mile to give you constructive feedback. They might give you appreciation, and it will give you a lot of motivation to continue. Because consistency is very hard being a content creator, and if your audience is supporting you, if your audience is asking you for new content, you will have that extra motivation to keep going. What do you think so?
Yes, I think that if you can keep your motivation, I think that that's the most important part. And having these, I I mean, I see the audience as sort of friends because I prefer to make, for example, on this YouTube channel now I make many polls like what would you like to see more, what would you like to see less, what would you like me to be interested into me doing this, and yes or not, and I actually make real action items out of. I mean, I made a poll today. I want to know, like, do you want the next quick tutorial to be a Docker one or a Rust one? And I'll do exactly what I'll get. So this gives you like a community-driven approach that I'm using on YouTube. On Twitter, I want to be more free to post whatever I want. On YouTube, I usually having this approach, and I can say that it's working also very well. Because sometimes we have an idea. I don't know. I'm about to make, I don't know, this tutorial about this new thing that I found. But then maybe nobody else cares except you. So it's great if you want to learn it. Maybe not much to create content. So if I want to do something, I do this anyway. No, because I know I think that this will be the future of tech in 2024. I'm doing a video anyway. When I'm not sure, I always ask, even if it seems that I'm not secure, because I don't care. I just want to have an idea. My goal is not to look cool on my YouTube channel. My goal is to make something that is valuable for the audience and also for me. So of course I choose the options. I choose, you want this, and that. You have no idea how many times the result is always the opposite. I say, okay, I'll put these 4 options. Okay, I'll put the last one just because I don't know, I need a filler, and that one like 60% of the people they vote for this. I said, okay, so let's try this something new. So for me, engaging with the audience, especially on YouTube, it's really really a key. It has been one of the good things that I've been doing recently. I don't know how much this is involved in the growth of on the channel and lately, but probably it had some a percentage of impact, I would say, because you create this sort of connection with people. And for example, on the first poll that I was doing like 2 months ago, I got like 10 votes. Now when I make a poll, I get like 200, 300 people voting. So people are understanding. They say, okay, so it's not just a random poll, but it's meant to be useful. So absolutely.
I
And
love
before
the
we,
community
sorry.
driven approach. Like, that is so
Yeah,
true.
yeah, and it also helps me to think less and then focus on the content. So, I mean, if it's the same for me to make 3 videos, I just let the audience say, okay, what do you want to see first? It's easy, and you always get a result that you will not expect. This is for sure. Like you mentally like root for one, you always get another one. So in that case, of course, you have to be consistent and do more what the audience wants, and at some point you can still do the other one. Nice, nice. Really enjoying this. Remember, I left in the description, of course, the Instagram and Twitter account of Khushboo. If you're not following Khushboo in 2024, well, I don't know what you are doing with your life. So fix this bug at least, so you can kickstart your here in the right way. Nice. Let's try to get a couple of more, and then I think we'll wrap up for this. I don't want this to be so too long. We have. I love this one. This is one of my favorite questions ever. Talk about finding a niche. What factors should developers consider when selecting a niche for branding purposes?
I think, first of all, definitely what you are good at and you have an intent of working with. Sometimes people start with something that they already know. So, for example, you might find a lot of developers starting with data structures and algorithms, or system design, or some technology that they are using at their day to day jobs. For example, Docker, if you're working with containers, you can start with Dockers and Kubernetes. If you are someone senior, you can start with system design. So do pick something that you are already using in your day to day, because otherwise, if you pick something different, you will have to take out different extra time from your day and study about it to post about it. The second thing is, obviously, if you pick something that is trending, for example, AI and machine learning in today's world, it will definitely have much more reach. But You have to figure out what is it that you can continue, because consistency is one of the key to success on any social media platform. And if you have to take out a lot of time to do it, you probably will burn out and you will not continue. So pick something that is trending, that you work on, and that is something that you are also interested in as a creative.
Yes, absolutely. I would say, as I say, this is always a compromise. And at the beginning, when on Twitter, I said, like, okay, let's try, I don't know, JavaScript tips, because I don't know, everyone is doing JavaScript tips. I also try JavaScript tips. Wrong. Don't do that. Because at some point I said, okay, let's try to do something else. Let's try to just share some tips. This was 2020, by the way. Tips about Docker, because I just like it. At the beginning, I got like few likes. But after 6 months, the Docker itself like noticed that I was doing this. They made me Docker captain, and now I went to Los Angeles for the DockerCon 2 months ago. So sometimes we are focused on like saying pleasing our audience. I repeat, I'm selfish and I start from me, and then I'll share something that can be useful if I can. And for me, the answer is only one, which is for this one, it's time. The more time you dedicate to something, the more you should create content. And never, I mean, I could create CSS, amazing CSS tips, but it's not the direction I want to go. So it doesn't make sense for me. And this could make things, as you said, perfectly not sustainable. I mean, I started doing CSS tips. Okay, I do this for 2 weeks. Okay, and then 4 weeks, but I don't like it. At some point, I will stop. 100%, not 99, because I just don't like it. So it's absolutely like this. Nice.
I can't
We
hear you any longer.
hmm?
I think
Yes.
we lost your voice for a bit.
Can you hear me now, or
Yes,
am I delayed? Okay.
now it's
Maybe
good.
I mute. Okay. Nice. Okay, nice. We have so many more. I think. Oh, we have this one. I want to take this one because I think this is related to the fact that, like, let's take an example of a person which really at the beginning. This doesn't make you a bad person or be better than you. I'm just trying to understand, because this is when you really can change your approach to social media. So I have, no, comment on the Twitter algorithm. I get 4 impressions per tweet. So what Yasho Deep you think I can do? What can be, I think, a good approach for him if he wants to build a personal branding?
So I think the algorithms for different platforms also keep changing with time. So it's not like I tell you something today and it's always gonna work. But there are certain good practices to keep in mind. The first one, as I mentioned, is consistency. The more consistent you are, that is gonna even if one tweet goes viral, people are gonna come to your profile and see the rest of the content that you were creating. So keep on focus on consistency and keep on posting. That is the first rule. The second thing is that you also have to think, how can you reach new audience? And the best way to do that is by engaging with the content of others. So if you are replying to someone's tweet, let's say Francesco's tweet, so he has a huge audience, some of them might see your comment and then they might go to your profile from there. So that is another way of doing it. Third thing is to identify the trends. So for example, during lockdown, Twitter spaces was a big thing. People were very actively participating in that, and I myself saw a huge growth in my audience because of that. So that was a trend that I picked up on. Now these trends can be different. And the fourth thing is experiment with different kinds of content. It can be single tweets, it can be a thread, it can be an informative video, it can be a personal experience. Interact and just experiment, and you might find what works better for you, because it can be different for me and it can be different for you, and the algorithm also keeps changing. But just keep going and you will definitely find success.
Love it. I just want to share something super fast. At the beginning, I think December 2019, there was a hackathon. So I made a tweet say like, "Hey, I want to participate in this hackathon. Who would like to join me? Let's do this together." 0 likes, 0 replies. This was me, December 2019. So 4 years ago. So now we can laugh, of course, about this, but this is just to show that I'm not that better than you, or I just have more tweets probably. I will focus less on the impressions because it can also give a sort of anxiety. I will focus more on the people. So send some DMs of people who have similar interests. This is how I got interested in joining Twitter. I didn't feel Twitter as a job, because if you are stressed about the impressions, it has the feeling that it's a job, it's an unpaid internship. Instead, if you say, okay, I want to go on Twitter because I want to, send a DM and see what Khushboo is doing today, this is better. This is preparing, I don't know, the soil. It's like preparing the field for actually creating some meaningful connections. So I will focus more on the two, three, four connections at the beginning. And yes, you can engage with big accounts, but I can also give the tip that try to engage with some people and try to grow together. It can also be because usually big accounts have an issue. They receive too many notifications and DMs. So I'm sorry. So sometimes it's for me it's a mess even to reply to my own friends. But so I will focus even on like if you are genuinely, I don't know, interested into the same topic, even if another person has like few followers, you can always engage. Amazing, amazing. Let's see if I can find. Let's take one more question, and then I would like to also give time to give a final message. I'm really enjoying this. This is probably my favorite question ever. So I would like to give this to you. But let's say, network with people in tech. Tips for introverts.
That's an amazing one because yes, some developers might be introverts and it might take some extra effort to network with them. So I'll just bifurcate into two different aspects. One is in-person networking and second is online networking. So I know that a lot of tech developers attend meetups and conferences and hackathons. So the number one way is to attend these meetups, conferences, and hackathons, and there you would find a lot of like-minded developers, and you can just walk to them and ask them what they're working on. If they're giving a talk, you can just attend it and give them feedback or ask more questions about it. That is a short way to go about it. And if you want to network with people who are in the on the internet in the virtual space where you are not physically present, interacting with the content. For example, if you want to grab Francesco's attention, you can just go to his channel and find the content that he creates, learn about it, and then reach out to him with more questions or more feedback. So he will see an effort. This is for people who are famous and who might have a lot of notifications. You can make some extra effort to stand out. But I think what I mentioned in the beginning as well, cold DMs work, but you have to draft that DM perfectly. It should respect the other person's time and it should be to the point. So if you do that, I'm pretty sure that your network will become amazing.
Nice. Thank you so much, Khushboo. Really enjoyed this conversation. This was, as I said, the best way for me to wish me good luck with 2024. This channel, good things are happening. Really appreciate you coming here and sharing so much. You know so much, and I think you do personal branding in a great way. I don't know how you grow also this way on Instagram. Instagram for me is super hard. I need help there, and other platforms, but you are really doing great. Last, let's close this first collaboration live. And what do you think will be a good final message for someone? Or maybe we are, as I say, at the beginning of 2024. So maybe some people say, okay, so this will be my year. So how can some people in the audience make this like their year, the 2024, in terms of personal branding? Thank you.
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. This is a topic which is so close to my heart, and I can talk about it for hours. And it is something that I feel is very important, as we have discussed throughout this podcast. If I have to leave you all with a final thing, I would just say that just get started with it. Don't think too much about it, because as I mentioned, it's like a domino effect. You just do one thing and you don't even know what it leads to next. You might find an amazing opportunity, and I would say do not wait to build a personal brand until you absolutely need it. Start creating your network and your brand from day one, and do not do it as a transactional thing. Do not do it because you need something in return. Try to use it as a medium to help others, and when you put that effort into the universe, things automatically fall in place for you as well. So just keep that in mind and start with it. If you feel problems in consistency or with ideas, you can obviously reach out to fellow creators and ask for help. And I'm pretty sure the community is very welcoming and supportive. So you will have a lot of help there.
Nice. Thank you so much, Khushboo. This was really amazing. I hope that now you have everything you need to get started. You have no more excuses now. I love the part of saying like start before you need something, because I'm sure that at some point you can make a use of your personal branding, but if you don't start before, the day that you will need personal branding, it will be too late, like to be the personal branding for zero. You can do this in one day, basically. So you need to start before. The same as YouTube and Twitter. You don't know. This can be turned into, I would say, let's say, if you keep doing all your own things and on the side you start doing something, any platform you want, you are not here to focus on a specific platform. At some point, some good things might happen in your life. I'm saying this from my personal experience, of course. So nice. Thank you. And I think that we can wrap up this first episode of the Talking with Francesco. This is the episode 210. So we made a couple of podcasts in this one. And Khushboo, thank you so much. I left the links in the description. As I said, if you don't follow Khushboo in 2024, 2023, you are making a mistake. Trust me. So nice. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here, and I hope your social media keeps on growing at an exponential pace. And everyone who joined us today, they also get started with their content creation journey and have a lot of success. Thank you so much. Once again, a very happy new year.
Nice. Thank you and Happy New Year. Bye, everyone. If you can say hi in the chat, and we are done. Bye bye, everyone. And yes, bye bye.